Welcome back to another episode of the Ark Switch Survival Guide. Check out this view. Today we are going to start building a base on what is probably the best base location in the southern island on Ark Switch. And I'll show you how to build this brick by brick, and today is going to be how we lay the foundation, clear off all the nasty dinosaurs that are lurking around, and we'll start preparing this to build the rest of the base in the next episode. So this is going to be kind of more of a let's play than a concise guide. I usually give you very short, concise guides on how to play Ark on Switch, but today we're just going to kind of do a let's play a little bit longer and see how you like it. And also for those of you who watch this video to the very end, I will give you a special sneak peek on this crazy trick we're going to be trying in a couple episodes, which is part of why I'm building the base right here and right now. So be sure to watch till the end. So first of all, some of you are probably new to this channel, so let me show you exactly where this base location is, because this is one of the best base locations on Ark Switch on the entire island map. And if you look here at about 8050 on your map is right where we're going to be building today. Now, starting zone 2 is actually just south of us. There's this long outlet of land and a nice little lagoon, and that's kind of where all those rock spires are. And just to the north of that, if you follow the river right next to it, will get you right to this spot, and to the right of this is the cliff that I'm going to be building on top of. This is a really nice plateau and a great base location. So this is what it looks like from the coast. If you're sailing down the coast, you can see those rock spires down there, and you just head up this little river right here. You can actually see from the coast, and on the right hand side is the cliff, and that whole area at the top of the cliff is right where we're going to be building our base. So first of all, I have loaded up my Pteranodon with all kinds of building materials. If you're new to this channel, this is a floating fortress, and my entire base is parked on a raft. So we take the base with us everywhere we go, and that makes it really easy to do things like building a base, because we've got all the materials and supplies already on that raft. And this area right up here is ideal for building a base because we have a lot of flat area, but it is completely surrounded on all sides by cliffs. And there's just a very small little ramp that you can access on the back side to get all of our land dinos up here. So this is a perfect spot, and it's a great location because it's right in the middle of the southern coast. It's great jungle. It's good ground cover in case you're trying to hide a PvP base for a large tribe. But right here is the only spot that you can really climb up this little slope right there to my left, and that's the only way you can get dinosaurs up here. The rest is all surrounded by cliffs. So if I put good defenses right here, the entire plateau will be completely safe and protected from predators. So this is why I'm choosing this as a really good base location. And this area right down here is a nice little slope that leads right down to my base that's parked on the coast. Now, directly across from the river, there's a metal mountain. A lot of people just call it Metal Mountain, but it's a mountain that's covered in metal and crystal. And I also haven't seen a whole lot of super dangerous dinosaurs around here. I mean, this is a pack of compies, and this is the first thing that's attacked me for a while. So I'm just going to rest up for a second and kill those off just so they don't give us any trouble while we're building. And I'll probably scour the top just to make sure everything's pretty safe. Now, once again, if you guys are new to this channel, I normally do very concise guides on a specific topic. Like, the last episode was how to loot beaver dams and get hundreds of pearls and cementing paste, which is very helpful if you missed that. But today I'm going to just try this out because a lot of people really enjoyed watching that episode where my wife and I played together and just kind of played around on Ark on split screen co-op, and I thought I'd just do a little bit more of a let's play on this guide and skip around just a little bit less than I normally do. So we went ahead and killed off those compies, and that's just some free hide and meat, pretty easy to kill with the Pteranodon. And I'm having to be careful because this guy is just about completely overweight, because I've got quite a few foundations loaded up in his inventory before I even headed up here. So I've been kind of scouting around this outer edge to find a nice flat spot, because when you're building a base, it is really helpful to build on a flat surface. That's one of the first things you want to look for. You can technically build on a slope, but it takes you about twice as long because you have to add tons of pillars and supports just to be able to make your base flat and make it nice and big. But this area right here to my left is a really long flat stretch right along the edge of this cliff, and it's facing out across from that mountain, which is also great because that mountain spawns all kinds of really nice carnivores, and we can keep an eye out for a good high level one. This is interesting. So, yeah, there's a floating tree. Didn't expect to see that, but that's pretty cool. So, yeah, another nice thing about this is apparently gravity doesn't apply in certain spots. We've got a tree just growing out of thin air. Very cool, right? I like that. I definitely want to put a base somewhere where physics does not apply. So up here to my left, right where that nice little pink dodo is going to be a really good spot to build. And I think I'm just going to kind of check around here and make sure nothing real dangerous is going to come up and kill me. But this spot right down here is going to be really nice. You can see it's very nice and flat. So I'm going to clear off some of these piles of rocks here. And one cool thing about these piles of rocks is they actually have a little bit of metal in them. So a lot of times, especially if you use a pickaxe to gather them, you can get a couple chunks of metal from big rock piles like this, which is quite nice. If you look carefully on this next one, you can see it's got just a little bit of a copper hint to it, and that means it's got some metal in there. So that's a nice little bonus having a couple of those rock piles, but I'm mostly clearing this area to make sure it's nice and flat and clear, and I think right where I'm standing is going to be ideal to start laying our foundations. So let me go ahead and put some of these in my hotbar here, and I'm actually going to pick out this spot to start laying foundations. Normally I build kind of out over the edge, but I think if I put this just slightly inside the edge, I'll actually be able to add to these foundations just over the edge, and that'll give me one more foundation to snap to. So I'm thinking right around here. You definitely want to take a lot of time to pick out the spot for your foundations, because your entire base is going to be attached to these foundations, and you can't move it once you've got your first foundation down. Everything will snap to that point. So you really want to be careful to make sure everything is lined up carefully and kind of, run it along the land to see how it stands up. I also want to make sure that I've got just enough where I can snap a foundation to the right-hand side, and that way I can actually build a porch going off of my base, which will be really nice for, sitting out on and drinking lemonade when we're just relaxing on Ark. But it'll actually be great as a landing pad for my pteranodons and things like that. So, yeah, that's actually a pretty good start for our foundations, and as you can see, it's actually allowing me to just snap these straight along the floor there, and we're in pretty good shape. So let me add some more to my hotbar here, and we'll try to extend this just a little bit further. Now, I usually, just as a personal preference, like to grab everything and gather everything out from under the spot where I want to build my base, because it's just a lot easier that way, and it makes it nice and clean. You don't have any, plants sticking up through your floor or anything like that, unless you like that kind of thing. I mean, it's kind of cool. Got some interesting stuff going on down there. This is why I am building on top of a cliff as opposed to the bottom of a cliff. So if you build on the bottom of a cliff, stuff can jump down from above you, and you don't know it's coming until it's right on top of your roof, and that's a really good way to lose dinos and all that good stuff. But if you build on top of a cliff, you can see everything coming after you, and it can't get to you. So I don't really have to worry about that guy down there. So let me hop back on my pteranodon. I've used up all the supplies I carried with me, but we've got a really good start for our foundations here, and I think we're going to have a nice looking base. So let me drop off the rest of these supplies, because I forgot I actually picked up a bunch of stone and metal, and let me just drop all this stuff off here, and okay, yep, definitely going to run. Something is attacking me. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but I don't really care. I want to get on my pteranodon and away from whatever it is. It sounded a little bit like a raptor. It's probably more like a Pegomastax over here, because we don't see a whole lot of real dangerous predators up on top. But a Pego is an incredibly... Yep, that's what it is. Okay, so I'm using my left trigger to pick up this little Pegomastax, and I'm just going to drop him down here and feed him to all the nasties down below, because it's a lot more fun to do that, right? There you go. So he's just going to swim around down there. If he survives, it's great, because he won't be respawning something more dangerous on top of the mountain. And if he doesn't, whatever, he's a little Pegomastax, a little jerk. Okay, cool. So I can't remember what that thing is actually called, but I'm not too worried about it because I have really strong defenses around my base. If you're new to this series, I've actually got Plant Species X turrets completely protecting my raft fortress, and whenever I just cruise down the coast, they just automatically kill off everything that I sail past. So it's really effective, and it makes it so pretty much nothing can destroy my base. It's also built out of stone, and it's a couple stories high, so it's very nicely impervious to all but alpha predators. But if I'm sailing around, I actually can stay away from the alphas too, because they move so slowly when they're getting shot by turrets. They can't actually hurt me. So I think I heard something, and yep, another Pego. Here we go. And this is actually a really great tactic. If you get attacked by anything, even like an alpha T-Rex or something, you just lure it right off the cliff, and it's no longer your problem. It'll just run around at the base of the cliff like an idiot, and it can't do anything to you. So that's great for taking care of entire packs of raptors or T-Rexes or anything that you don't really feel like actually fighting. So I'll probably make a more elaborate defense system that will actually lure dinosaurs to fall off the cliff. And I had a fun little system on the first little base that I made on this series was entirely made out of wood and thatch. But I actually engineered it in such a way that it lures any predators to just jump right off a cliff if they come and attack me. So I'll actually drop a link in the description to that video. It's pretty hilarious. So yeah, we're actually just kind of extending this out further, and I'm going to make this a pretty good sized building. I want to make it about 4 stories tall and about 4 foundations deep, maybe 5 or 6 long. So it's going to be a good sized building that I can, first of all, store all of my dinosaurs in, and then later on I'm going to be clearing off this entire plateau, getting rid of all of the trees and stones so I can see really well, and I'll actually build a wall so nothing can get up onto the plateau, and then actually put a whole bunch of defenses up here. So we'll have a very safe and secure entire plateau to live on. So let me check this out real quick. My Plant Species X turrets just kill everything that comes by, so I just kind of have free meat and hide constantly available to pick up. So every time I'm coming up and down with some supplies to build the base, I am just grabbing more meat and hide and all that good stuff. Now, I can hear these Plant Species X turrets shooting at something, and oh, there's the Baryonyx. Okay, I was wondering when he would show up. So he's just been kind of milling around like an idiot out here, but he's finally gotten close enough to my base to be a problem. But as you can see, he's not really a problem. Those Therizinosaurs might be a problem, though. Therizinosaurs are no joke. They are really nasty dinos. They move really fast, and even though they're covered in feathers and look like overgrown chickens, they're about as dangerous as a Tyrannosaur. So I just grabbed a bunch of supplies, and as I was filling up my fridge, I heard the turrets shooting again, and we have the Therizinosaur is now in aggro range, and it is ticked. So let me see if I can help out my turrets a little bit, because I've only got one of them shooting this guy, and Therizinosaurs are pretty tough. So one really helpful strategy when you're on a Pteranodon is you can attack something and it will keep chasing you, but it moves too slowly because the Plant Species X turrets slow it down with every hit. So you can see how crazy fast this thing is right now normally. Those things will mess you up, and they can actually even do a little bit of damage to stone structures, so they're one of the few non-alpha dinosaurs that can actually pose a threat to a stone base. But it takes them a while to knock something down. And as long as I just keep this guy mad at me and just run him back and forth, he'll keep chasing me, and my plant turret is just shooting him over and over again. And there you go. So he's toast too. So I'll just peck these guys from above the water, being careful not to touch the water because my Pteranodon will drop me if I touch the water, and he will just leave me to get eaten by piranhas, which are hopefully all dead at this point because those turrets are shooting them down too. But there you go. We actually got a lot of prime meat from those things, so I'm always happy when a big predator attacks me because it gives me a whole bunch of free prime meat, and I now have a refrigerator where I can actually store all of that until it's time to tame a really high-level carnivore. So that stuff makes it really easy to tame a super high-level dino, and it gives it a really good taming bonus, so you get a much higher level dinosaur when you finish the tame. So I'm still saving up lots of prime meat, and I'll be trying to tame something really crazy later on. But first I want to finish building this base and get my dinos where they are all nice and safe. So as you can see here, the ground is sloping just slightly, and I'm no longer able to add any foundations on the same level in that direction. But I can keep building this way, so I'll add a few more until the slope becomes too extreme, and at that point you can see it's no longer snapping correctly. But I will go ahead and grab all of this good stuff. We're getting just a couple chunks of metal here and there, and I'll drop that back off in this little supply box. So it's really handy to have that supply box because my Pteranodon has been way overweight. Now, about halfway through this, I realized, I need to bring my Brontosaurus up to that plateau anyway, and he can carry about 1,600 pounds, so why not just fill him up with all the supplies I'm going to need, and then we'll just take him all the way up the mountain and stop having to go just constantly flying back and forth. So I just grabbed a ton of stuff. I've got hundreds of pounds on my character, and I can't move at all, but if I use the left trigger to toss all of these boxes down onto the ground, I can just pick them all up right next to the Brontosaur and then just load them all up into his inventory. And as you can see here, I've put tons of building supplies, walls, foundations, ceilings, all kinds of good stuff that I already made. And I built all of those back on Herbivore Island before I even sailed down here. I have a crazy trick where you can level up about 20 times in about 10 minutes. It's amazing. But that's why I built all of those. I was just constantly building all of the stone foundations, walls, ceilings, and stuff that I would need for an entire base as quickly as possible while I had a double experience boost on me for 10 minutes. So that was very helpful. Now, I'm leading this guy slowly up this ramp, and as you can see, he's just knocking over every tree that he walks by. Normally, I'd be kind of sad because he does not get any wood that way, and I like getting a lot of lumber for supplies, but I mean, we're in the middle of a jungle, so I'm not really worried about running out of trees here. And I think by the time I clear off all the trees on the plateau that I want to clear off, we will probably have more than enough wood. And we've already got tons that we brought over that we collected with our beaver on Herbivore Island. So I am just getting this guy to knock over all the trees, and he's kind of helping me clear a path out here. If I had a saddle on him, I could clear this whole plateau of trees in no time. Oop. Looks like he's having a little bit of trouble here, so I'm going to try to lead him in the right direction. Brontosaurs are just flippin' huge, and they can get kind of awkward when you try to put them into tight spaces. Also, if you look to the right side of my screen, there's another little rock wall, and that leads to another even bigger plateau, which also makes a great base for an alpha tribe. But I kind of want a smaller plateau to control right now. It'll just be easier and faster to put up defenses for, so I'm sticking with this one, and this one is also much closer to the Metal Mountain, which is one of the biggest reasons I wanted to live here. It's going to be really quick and easy to get tons of metal with my Ankylosaur team and bring them right back up to my home base, and I can also lead predators down to my defense turrets to get them killed using my Pteranodon before I even go out to the Metal Mountain, so this will be a really great spot. So I've knocked over a lot of trees in the way, which actually makes it much easier to see. And there we go. We got Bob the Brontosaurus up here. By the way, I also, if you're wondering why he looks weird and you're new to this channel, we did a Bob Ross painting. Well, I should say we attempted to paint a Bob Ross painting on the side of this brontosaur. That was my thank you for getting 900 subscribers on this channel, which, by the way, I am still super grateful to all of you guys for all of your support. It has just been amazing to have so much support on this channel. It's been growing so fast, and I really appreciate it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and finish up this foundation here, and we've got these gaps where it's too much of a slope to add another foundation snapped on the same level. But if we add a ceiling, we can actually snap this pillar down below the ceiling, and as you can see, there's a lot of different places where it kind of wants to snap to the middle or the bottom, and you want to snap it to where it's actually sticking into the ground. Now, if I want these pillars to be exactly the same level, I can actually snap one and it will default to snap to the next pillar. And it actually snaps just a little bit lower than the other pillar. You can see it's just barely lower, and I was trying to see if I could snap these even lower and get it to look a little better, but it's just not quite doing that for me. So one ceiling and then one pillar sticking out of it and touching the ground actually counts as a foundation as far as the game is concerned. So if you need to put a foundation down and a foundation just doesn't quite work, just snap a ceiling to a pillar and the game will actually count that as a foundation. And that'll allow us to extend the floor a little bit longer, and then it'll actually let us build from that. And it doesn't look perfect. It's got a little bit of a bump sticking out of it, but you know, it works. It's functional, and that's the most important thing just at this moment. We're just kind of trying to get a nice functional base, and I've been trying to make it a little bit prettier by adding that foundation snapping from the other foundation to just get a little bit closer to the ground. But it just doesn't quite look pretty no matter what I do, so I'm not going to worry about it for now. So we've pretty much got the foundation laid, and I'm just going to add a ramp so that we can get up to this foundation. Get out of here, Dodo. So that should pretty much do it for the foundation of this base we're building, and it's a pretty good size building, but we are going to make it much bigger and just kind of expand out from here. But check out the view. That is just an amazing view on this base. So this is one of the reasons I think this is the best base location on Ark, is it's just such a great view, such a beautiful place and a good location. And we're just going to have a real easy time expanding out across this whole plateau and keeping everything really safe. So I'm going to add a ramp here so I can get up onto the foundation easily, because even though it's pretty flat, it's still not quite perfect, and I think that'll actually be a good place to stop for today. So in the next episode, we are going to build all of the walls, doors, gates, ceilings, and all of that good stuff, which, believe it or not, is actually going to go a lot faster now that we have a foundation in place. A lot of times just clearing the land and getting the foundation together is one of the hardest things to do, and we had a lot of interruptions from our nosy neighbors that were trying to kill us down at the bottom of this mountain, but everything should be reasonably safe, you know, reasonably safe. We are in a pretty dangerous area down there, but the rest of the building should go a lot faster, especially once we bring all of our dinosaurs up here. I also want to say happy birthday to Jostin, one of our subscribers here, whose birthday is today. Happy birthday, Jostin, and if any of you wants to drop happy birthday wishes in the comments, please feel free to do that. Also, drop a comment if you liked this video being a little bit longer, and I just thought I'd try that out and see how you guys like it, if it's more of a let's play than just a directed guide. And don't worry, I will keep doing lots of really succinct, helpful guides to help you enjoy your journey on Ark. And I'm curious where all of you guys are building. I understand some of you will be building bases in PvP servers and you don't want to tell where you're actually living, but any of you guys who want to share where your base location is, I'm actually trying to kind of get a good survey for some of the best base locations on the island on Ark, and I will be building a lot of outposts throughout the island, so this will definitely not be my last base. It may be the biggest one, but we'll definitely be building in all kinds of great base locations, so if you have any suggestions, feel free to drop a comment and let me know where you're building, and I'll be sure to check that area out next time I'm in the neighborhood. Also, be sure to check out the video where my wife joined me to play some co-op Ark on the center map, which should be coming to Switch in the next couple months. And I hope you'll really enjoy that one. That was a celebration for getting 1,000 subscribers on this channel. Thank you so much to all of you for all of your support. It has just been amazing. And once we hit 1,100 subscribers, which will happen very soon, my wife and I are going to do the next episode of our co-op adventure, so some of you will be very excited about that. And as promised, here is a sneak preview of what I'm going to do in a couple episodes. I am going to try to tame a level 130 plus Tapehara. Now, any of you who have tried to tame a Tapehara know that as soon as these guys even see you, they run like crazy and you'll never see them again. But I have a special trick to make it so angry, I'm going to try to get it to chase me all the way back into the base and see if I can tame a level 130 plus Tapehara with a crazy easy taming technique, which should work very well. So be sure to check that out and subscribe to this channel and make sure the notifications are enabled, and it will tell you when this video comes out. It'll be really helpful for you. So we'll see you in the next episode.